The Daybreak show rolls on. Morning, Spencer.
Hey, good morning.
Great guests in studio continue through the morning here. And now, talking about the Hood Canal Salmon Center, the Salmon Enhancement Group, another great nonprofit in our community, spreading the good words of things they do. And thanks to Peninsula Credit Union again for offering up time to nonprofits to get the word out on great projects like the 2019 Steelhead Project. And we have in studio Clayton David. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff.
Morning.
Good morning, Spencer.
Morning.
Nice to see you, and it's always nice to talk about the Salmon Center. Always big things happening with them and you guys up there. First off, how's the farm looking? How's the grounds looking up there?
Everything's growing quite a bit now. We got all the seedlings are in the ground now. Everything's coming up. The pea patches are going. The lawnmowers are going daily, pretty much, hitting the grass down and stuff like that. But yeah, looking pretty green everywhere.
And it's going to be a fun upcoming through the summer as the Music on the Estuary is coming up on the 22nd of June here with some great bands playing out there on a beautiful vista. So very cool on that. But we're here to talk about the Steelhead Project.
Sure.
What is this and how can we get involved?
So the Hood Canal Steelhead Project is, we're currently in our 13th year of a 16-year project. And this is a innovative new experiment, so to speak, for recovering wild populations using a hatchery conservation method rather than traditional hatchery practices of the past. So to explain that a little bit further, for the first 7 years of this program, we would actually go into 3 of our experimental streams in Hood Canal, which are the Dewatto, South Fork of the Skokomish, and the Duckabush. We would find steelhead reds that were naturally spawned, and then through a process of using a water pump, we would excavate some eggs out of those reds and take them to a hatchery. We would raise those fish in the hatchery for 2 years, mimicking the normal steelhead life cycle of a 2-year smolt. They actually stay in the freshwater for 2 years before they head out to the saltwater. And then when we return those fish right back to the same stream where they were spawned. So in effect, we have allowed them to choose their mates, spawn naturally, and then return the fish right back to the same stream where the genetic population is true for that stream, for that watershed.
And that's a big thing with fish, and I know we've talked about this over the years, that they'll somehow return right back to where they were spawned in the beginning.
Yeah, the majority of salmonids or steelhead or salmon, things like that, will come back to their natal stream. Their small percentage will stray to other streams to ensure that their species proliferates itself, also adding genetic diversity to the other watersheds. And our traditional hatchery practices have shown that if we kind of just keep using the same broodstock from one hatchery over and over again in different watersheds, we end up actually degrading the wild population, the genetics of the wild population in that watershed, causing them to be less fit to live in their own watersheds. And so we're trying to really promote hatchery reform in a way that still allows us to use hatcheries as a useful tool for conservation and recovery. But then also, recover some wild populations within Hood Canal here, bring back those steelhead numbers. A lot of people may not know, but steelhead is Washington State's fish, and they're not doing so well anymore.
Ooh.
And we really need to step up our game and get some of these wild populations back up and running.
I'm fascinated by this. I mean, this whole process is just.
You got to get out on the river this
yeah.
summer, the fall.
Yeah,
when
I got to
they come
get out
back
there. Yeah.
in and count them and pick them up and
It's
determine them.
incredible, yeah.
Oh my
I'm
gosh,
just
it's
amazed
so
by
much
this.
fun. We've been doing it for a couple, 2 or 3 years now,
Yeah.
Stephanie and I. And
Yeah.
yeah, for sure. You
Gotta
got to
do it.
get involved.
You're referring to our Summer Chum program
Yeah,
coming
for
up
sure.
here in August, and again, we're just going to skip ahead of that. That's fine. We need volunteers for that as well. That's a big hoot for sure for everybody in the town.
We did the last year we did the out-migrating
Yep.
one too
Yep.
on some of the rivers there, and we went to the different spots and checked out the little babies and counted them and tried to determine and the differences, and it's just fascinating because it's so integral to us in the Northwest, not only from just the fact that we've got water all over the place and it's the fish, state fish, but we consume a large amount of fish, in our daily diets and things like that. So to understand where it comes from, it's fascinating.
It's really an understanding of what fish, salmon, and steelhead give to every aspect of Washington State, Pacific Northwest lifestyle, culturally, economically, socially, historically. It's really ingrained in our society here, and it's something that everybody needs to pay attention to. Otherwise, we could lose it.
When you bring the reds there into the hatchery, it seems to me, and stop me if I'm wrong, that this is a great way to kind of incubator's not the right word, but it's got good water. You know that there's the source of water is there. You're not going to be having to deal with any of the problems like we're talking about just before you came on. Levels of the waters maybe a foot lower than we're used to.
And I see your train of thought here. Basically, what we're doing by protecting the eggs, the young steelhead in the hatchery for the 2 years, is we're avoiding the 80+% mortality rate in the wild. So that way, when we place the fish back in the stream after 2 years old, we put them back in the time of year when they're all out migrating. They're going to head right back out. They're going to head right out to the salt water and go to become adults.
Right?
And so far, after 13 years, we've seen red increases in all 3 experimental streams over the years. So we're getting more adults coming back to spawn successfully, which is good. And we've also seen, according to the geneticists, no degradation in the wild population's genetic makeup for each of those 3 streams.
That's awesome.
And that's really important. That's the biggest importance of this whole thing, is making sure that we can recover these wild populations without losing their normal life histories.
Wow. Is this a nationwide project that people are looking at in different rivers and tributaries, or is this specific to us and all eyes are on what you guys are doing to kind of expand this?
There has been some hatchery conservation programs that have been started since we've started this program. Like I said, we're in our 13th year, but Barry Barajikian from NOAA Fisheries, he's the director of Manchester Labs in Port Orchard there. He's the kind of the brainchild of this whole thing. And so nationwide, I don't know that any other states are doing programs like this, maybe some in Oregon, but we are partnered with, like I said, NOAA Fisheries, Fish and Wildlife, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, the Point No Point Treaty, the Skokomish tribe, the Port Gamble Skellum tribe.
Wow.
If I forgot anybody, I'm sorry. There's a lot of partners on this program. Long Live the Kings, and of course us as well. I think I got them all.
On the pnwsalmoncenter.org website, which we'll put the links to in the show notes there, under Get Involved is a great place to go for volunteer opportunities, volunteer forms and hours, and not only on the rivers, but volunteer opportunities around the property as well. So definitely sign up for volunteer time for this 2019 Steelhead project, and then more on the way, and I'm sure we'll talk about those. And it's a great way for new transplants. Like Spencer just came from California in the last year, so a real good dive into what we do here with the Northwest and the fish and all those things, but also for kids. And I know you guys do a lot with kids too.
Absolutely. And so right now for the Steelhead Project, we have 3 traps out there that we have to be checked every day: the Dewado River, the Little Quilcene River, and the Tahuya River. So folks can go to our website, sign up for a time slot on a particular day that works for them to go out and check the trap. I mean, we're having wonderful weather right now. I've got great interns that are really helpful and can help teach kids or the adults too. It doesn't matter if you've ever been in a pair of waders or not. You will have fun, I guarantee it, and you will learn something too. And we're in need some volunteers. We have some holes open right now, and so anybody who's interested should sign up.
I do see that there are a couple sign up openings opportunities, and it is through the week. So kind of if you're checking out the Tahuya and the Dewado, it's a 9 to noon opportunity. The Little Quilcene is a noon to 3 opportunity, and that goes through the week. There are weekend chances as well. This might be a fun thing if you have family, relatives coming into town. Give them another, you're always looking around looking for something to do. You might as well help out a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And as many as you want to bring is just fine. There's always a need for an extra hand.
Sure. So. Yeah, you ain't kidding. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Jeff.
And we will see you out on the rivers.
That's right. Sounds
Keep
good.
up the great work over there.
Nice to meet you, Spencer.
Nice to meet you too.